Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today Bernd and I are going to do a 2-player playthrough of Alter Quest. Yeah, this looks a lot like Hero Quest except for we're going to play the new game by Adam and Brady Sadler, Alter Quest, which is by far a superior game. I am so excited to show you this game. It's one I've been anticipating since I saw Mike's playthrough, which I should mention, go ahead and check out Mike's playthrough as well if you'd like to see the starting quest, I think it's called the Search. You can go ahead and check his out. We're going to do a different one. We're going to use characters that came in a Kickstarter, just so you guys can see some more and see the full production of the game. Just like normal, we'll do a quick setup video. I will say there's a ton of different moving pieces in this game. I don't think it's overly complicated, but there's lots to track. I would say that's the biggest downside of this game, so watch that. If that's a problem for you, this might not be for you. But yeah, let's go ahead and set up all the different decks, and then we'll jump into the playthrough. After you've laid the board out on the table, the next step for setup is to grab your hero decks. Now, I'm going to be playing a Lacen Pines. Lacen Pines is an elf that turns into, potentially, a werewolf. That's why I thought it'd be really fun to play him. Now, when you pull out their deck will also include these yellow cards. These are upgrade cards. You will only use these if you're playing the campaign, so make sure to pull those out. They mention pulling them out, but they don't mention what they look like. You know that they're the upgraded ones because of this yellow bar. Here you can see there's the white bar for the regular ones. So yeah, make sure to not include those. I've pulled them out of both of these decks. You'll have your player card here. Mine is dual-sided because of the way that I play. Over here we have Gwendol. Gwendol is not dual-sided. She's a druid. That will be who Bernd is playing. But instead, Gwendol has Loxley, which is an ally, which we'll see how that works. Each hero will start with 2 items that will be out on the table to start with. The rest of your deck, all you'll need to do is shuffle it up and draw 4 cards. So we have the Ranger's Bow and the Crescent of the Loon. And of course, what's fun is if we ever go to the werewolf side, they are dual-sided. You'll see how these work during the playthrough, but the big things to note is they all have abilities here. So this one has exhaust abilities. This one actually has an action that we can take as well as an exhaust ability. And then we have an exhaust ability here on our special card here called Beckoning of Loon to flip ourselves over to the werewolf side. Up here it denotes our health. This denotes our stats for all the different types of statistics we might be testing. That's our defense, so we're at 0 on this side. On this side we have 1. To start the game, you get to draw 4 cards from your deck after you've shuffled. We've got Hunter's Reach, Loon's Elusive Grace, Tearing Fangs, and Lunaran Resilience. I actually think I'm going to keep all 4 of these. What you can do is you can mulligan one time by taking a couple out of your hand, setting them aside, and drawing 2 more cards, or however many cards that you discarded, and then you'll take those discarded cards and put them back into your deck. The fun part about Lacen is while Lacen is in elf form, you can only play elf cards, and while we're in wolf form, we can only play wolf cards. So that's something I have to watch. That's why I have 2 of each. It's actually kind of nice, just in case we can kind of see what happens and if we want to switch to wolf form. Gwendol here has an ally called Loxley. Loxley will start out on the board. If Loxley ever gets defeated, he'll be placed back onto this card, and then Gwendol can re-summon him out. She also has an oak staff here. Something that you want to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this. This symbol notates their range. So Loxley can attack at a range of 1. We can hit with the oak staff at a range of 2, probably because it's really long. So what we'll do for Gwendol is we'll also draw her 4 cards. So she's got Primal Coordination at my command, Mystic Link, and Loyal Guardian. And you'll see how all of these work in the playthrough. Our next part of setup for our heroes is to grab 3 action tokens. Now, in most games, I would feel like 3 action tokens, why would you need them? You can track your actions. Not in this game. You have things like an exhaust ability. That doesn't take an action. You have reactions in your hand. That doesn't take an action. You have feats in your hand. That doesn't take an action. So it can get very confusing how many actions you've taken. So these are key. I highly recommend, especially when you first play a couple times, to use these. The other item to note when you're setting up your hero area is make sure to have some area for cards to place above your hero cards. This is your threat area. Whenever there are threats that are coming out, such as minions, they're going to be placed here, and they're going to resolve during the threat phase. So make sure you have room to put threat enemies here. You have your cards down here. Next, you want to set up your quest, and the quest that we chose was the Showdown. The time has come to confront a formidable foe that threatens peace and prosperity. While you know the location of your foe, you must learn as much as you can about its strength and weakness before engaging in combat. If you rush headlong into battle before knowing what you're up against, the results could be fatal. So we have set up here. Remove each advantage card from the quest deck and randomly place one advantage card in each hero's threat area. Remove the rest from the game. Let's start there. Here we have the 4 advantage cards. We know that because it says advantage here. I'm going to take them, randomly shuffle them up. I'm going to give this one to Barrett. So Barrett will have the source of strength, and I will have the unnatural protection. So we're going to put both of those in our threat area. These 2 advantages we'll remove from this current game. Next, we need to remove each interrogation card from the quest deck and shuffle them together and set them near the quest area to create the interrogation deck. Here we have our interrogation cards. Once again, we can see it says interrogation on it. I'm going to go ahead and flip these over, shuffle these up, and set them next to our quest cards. And then finally, we'll take the remainder of the quest cards that we have here. I'll shuffle those up, and we are set to go. We can see here on the flip side, if the villain is defeated and the altar is in a revealed room, the heroes win the game. So we need to find an altar, and we need to defeat the villain. That's how we win. The villain will get +2 times the amount of players. We're playing with 2 players, so 4 health value. So he'll have +4 health. If a minion card has a quest token on it, that minion has been questioned. And you'll see how that works as we play. We have to, during the quest phase, activate this card. So this is actually going to start our quest area. We're going to have cards we're going to place in the quest area. This will be the first card on the leftmost side, and it will have an activate effect. Each hero with an advantage card in their threat area must either discard 1 progress from it or discard 1 card. If there are no advantage cards in play, draw 1 villain card. Next, you need to grab a random altar card. So I've shuffled all the altar cards and randomly chose the burning altar. This is going to be placed next to the quest card in the quest area. This one has an activate effect which will happen each quest phase. Activate. Each hero may suffer 1 damage to change 1 altar die to a result of their choice. Each hero in the altar room may deal 1 damage to an enemy in their room. Nice. If there's a fire altar die, this altar will use that die, and then each figure must either discard 1 armor token or suffer 1 damage. And that's each figure, so that's both friendly and unfriendly. Next, what you want to do is grab the altar dice. There's 5 of them. You're going to give them a roll, and that's going to start our altar pool. We have 2 shadow, we have 1 wind, we have 1 water, and we have 1 fire. Both enemies and characters are considered heroes or potentially even allies, can utilize these for special effects. So place these off to the side next to the quest area because you may be using them often. The Kral have descended on Aritica for much the same reason as many of the other races in Rahuna, to seek power and favor with the runes. As far as the Kral are concerned, the altars are the first sign of the coming of the Black Sklee. There are 3 different minion sets for each of the Kral. I have them set aside, ready to go and be placed on the board. Now, they also have a special ability with threat tokens. Threat tokens represent the Kral's ability to blend into the shadows. Each time a minion threat spawns, it gains 3 threat tokens. For each threat token a minion threat has, it adds 1 to its defense value. Once during their turn, a hero may discard any number of focus. For each focus discarded, the hero may discard 1 threat token from an enemy in their room. You'll see how that works, but essentially threat is going to be defense for these Kral. The next part of setup is to choose your villain. The villain we've chosen is the Broderick Heston villain. Now, there are 2 sides of each of the villain. One is the actual villain itself. When their deck is empty, they will become revealed and spawn onto the board. But when you first start out with the game, they're going to have their scheme out. A master huntsman and cunning statesman, Broderick leads 2 separate lives. During the day, he's marshaling his political power to forge an alliance with the new Queen of Eastony, to earn a seat at the eventual Great Council. When the sun begins to set, Broderick stalks the land around his sprawling estate for the unwary prey. So we have set up here, search the villain deck for the Black Wolf, which I have right here. Place it in the villain play area. So this is going to start the villain play area. This will be the first card, this will be the second one. And place the figure on its card. So I'll do that right now. We have an activate ability that will happen during the villain phase here. We also have an activate ability here, and then we'll be drawing from this deck. Remember, when this deck is empty, we will flip this over and spawn the villain. Next, we have a few decks to set up. our search deck, nice and simple, shuffle up and you're good to go. Same with the lurker deck. Now, the feature deck, what you need to do is grab 7 random feature cards plus the altar found card. Now, in some quests, you need to place this altar found card within the bottom 2, 3, or 4 cards of this deck. For this quest, it doesn't say that we need to do that, and that's because we just need to find it and defeat the villain. It isn't something where it needs to be close to the end of the deck. So what we can do is just simply shuffle it in with the 7 features that I have chosen already. So there's 8 total features. That means that we're going to have a total of 8 rooms at most during this quest. So I've shuffled these up and we're good to go. The final part of setup is to place the stairs. Where are we going to come out into this dungeon? We're going to place it in this room. You have to place it in the area where the features are going to be placed on the board in other rooms. And you always can tell that by these 4 symbols here. This arrow says if this feature only takes up 1 space, you'll place it here. If it takes up 2 spaces, you'll place it in these 2 spaces. And then if it takes up 4, you'll use all 4. Well, this takes up 4, so we'll place it like so. Then we need to place our miniatures anywhere on this tile. So there you have it. That's how you set up the game. There are tons of tokens that you need to set up. You've got your dice that you need to place to the side, but otherwise you're good to go. Let's go ahead and start our quest. Here we have our turn order card for the game, so each of us get a single turn in this game. It's technically not simultaneous, but you're going to see that we can do exhaust effects and feat cards on each other's turns. But when it's your turn, you can do 3 actions. You either have move, and you can move up to 3 spaces. Remember, diagonal works for everything except for doors, and we'll show that in a second. You can do a card action, so that if a card in your hand has an action, or if there's a card on the table that has an action, you can do that. There's an interact. You can do an internet action. You can play an action card. You can just draw 1 card. You can rest by discarding a supply to heal 2 damage. We don't have any supply yet. We'll gain that by defeating minions. And then finally, we can channel. We can gain 1 focus and change an altar die to a result of our choice. Once you've done your 3 actions, then you can draw 1 card and we'll flip this. And when we flip this, we'll move to the threat turn, the villain turn, and then the quest turn. And that happens after both players or all players that are playing the game have completed their hero phase. So I'm going to be the first one to go this time, and I'll start my hero turn.
Before Colin actually goes, I'm actually going to exhaust Loxley. I have a power down here. Exhaust this ally. Move up to 5 spaces. So I can do this even though it's his turn. So we're going to go ahead and exhaust him by putting the token right on there, and we're going to go ahead and move him. Loxley's going to move 5 squares, and allies can open doors. So he's going to go 1, 2, and then he's going to open this door for free. And then we're going to go ahead and draw some cards. So we're going to go ahead and draw our feature for the room. Oh, check it out. We found a fungal patch. Now this is going to go up with the quest area, and it's going to activate there. And when it does, a hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. Now you can interact this at a range of 1 and use search with your fortitude. And for each supply gained during this test, we're going to deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. So fungal patch looks pretty good. As Colin explained earlier, 1 would go here, 2 would go here, and 4 would cover the whole thing. And since this is a 2 blocker, we're going to go ahead and put it in the 2 area. The next thing we're going to draw is going to be our quest card. So let's check it out. Oh, we got Wicked Armory. Various arms and armaments line the walls of this room, which are most certainly served as the enemy's armory. Learning what you can about the weapons your foes favor could certainly give you the edge in the upcoming battle. Unfortunately, it appears the weapons that remain in this chamber are ill-suited for your personal use, not to mention of lesser quality than your own. Haha, I guess my staff is better than this. When revealed, attach this card to the room's feature card. Activate. A hero adjacent to the feature may discard this card to either place 2 progress on favored weapon or discard the top card of the villain deck.
So we've attached this card to the fungal patch here. This activate will happen when we're in the quest phase, and don't forget that interact you can do as an action during the hero phase only. The final part of revealing a room is you have to draw a threat card, 1 for each player. I'm going to draw mine first, and what I have is a Growl Decoy. So this is a trap. After a minion threat is defeated, spawn it in this trap's space and discard this card. It has a trigger. either discard one focus or activate a minion threat. It has an interactive 1, so we can interact when we're one space away from it. We can test our intellect, and then we are trying to get 4 successes to get rid of this. If we don't get rid of this, this will activate, and it says each minion threat in this room gains 1 threat token. You have to place traps adjacent to your feature as close as possible to as many characters as possible. So I'm going to place this feature right here. If we have Loxley here move within range 1 of this trap, it's going to activate the trap. It's going to trigger it.
So I'm going to go ahead and draw my Growl card. It says From the Shadows. It's an event. Each minion threat with 2 or more threat tokens immediately activates. If no minion threat activates this way, each hero must either discard a focus or suffer a damage. And we ain't got no focus, so it might be damage time.
Yeah, so I think we're each going to suffer 1 damage. So whenever you see suffer damage, that will not take into account your defense. So we're each going to just take 1 damage.
Loxley still has 3 more movement left, and if he moves in, he's going to go ahead and have to do the trigger. Well, the trigger is either activating a minion or lose 1 focus. Now, there are no minions on the board, and neither me or Colin has any focus, so there really isn't going to be a big deal. Of course, we do want to get rid of this as fast as we can, because if any minions do appear, they're going to start activating with this thing. So 3 more moves, 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to move adjacent to this feature and maybe start moving towards another door.
I'm going to take my first action. I think I'm just going to move. I can move 3 spaces. You can move through friendly characters. So I can move through Barrett like this, 1, 2, 3. You just can't end in the space with a friendly character. Then for my second action, I think I'm just going to move 1, 2, come adjacent to this spot here. And then for my third action, I'm going to try and do the task to start trying to take care of this threat. And by threat, I mean trap. As Layson, my intelligence is 2. That means I get to roll 2 dice. I'm trying to do this interact. I had to be within range 1 to do it. Let's see what I get. The dice that you use in this game are quite fun. So you have different symbols on them. This symbol here is simply a success. This here is a focus. You can use it in 2 different ways. One, you can use it as a miss, and then you gain a focus equal to the amount of focuses that you choose to take as a miss. You can also, instead, if I had a focus, I could spend a focus to turn that into a success. You also have ones, these are the best, the burst ones. So if I roll any of those, I get to roll additional dice equal to the amount of burst symbols. And if I roll another burst, I can continue rolling and rolling and rolling until I no longer have a burst symbol. And the burst symbol itself is considered a success. So I'm going to go ahead and grab both of these, give them a roll, and I have 1 focus symbol and 1 success. So since I have no focus, I'm going to gain a focus with this one, and I'm going to place 1 success here. So I'll grab this focus that I can use in a future turn. With that success, I can place 1 token here to denote that we are 1/4 of the way done from completing this trap. Now, even though I've done all 3 of my actions, I am going to exhaust my Crescent of the Lune. What this says is I can do either one of these. I can either spend a light altar die to heal 1 damage and draw 1 card. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those dice out in the altar. So instead, what I'm going to do is exhaust this to roll up to 2 altar dice. I want to get rid of that fire die because that fire die will activate the negative effect on the burning altar. So I'm going to re-roll that one, and we have 2 of these night ones, so I'm going to go ahead and re-roll 1 of them so we have 1 still in there. We'll give these 2 dice a roll, and we get a night again, and we have earth. Since I've completed my turn, I'll take my turn order card, flip it over to remind myself I've completed my turn, and I will draw 1 card. I have the Lunarian Resilience. I actually have 2 of these. I think this is making me think I might want to flip to werewolf form, which actually I can do right now, even though it's going to be Baron's turn. I can use this die, and I'm going to have to suffer 1 damage, but I will be able to flip this card. So I'm going to go from Layson over here to Layson werewolf form. But that does mean I have 2 damage. I now have 1 armor. The other thing is I'm going to flip the ranger bow into the wolf claws. And I will flip the Crescent of the Lune over to the Crescent of the Lune on this side, which is specific for the werewolf. This will remain exhausted, so I can't use the exhaust ability again on this. Since I used an altar die, I have to re-roll it, and we have some wind. I'll exchange my miniatures for my werewolf. Yes. Thank you, Baron, for painting the werewolf. He painted the heroes for us.
For my turn, Gwendole's going to go ahead and do 3 actions. Now, I've already covered the actions. One of them I'm going to do is move. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to get adjacent to this, which means, again, we either go ahead and activate a minion or lose 1 focus, We don't have either of those, so that's not going to play into effect. The next thing I'm going to do is play some cards. The card I'm going to play is Loyal Guardian. Oh, look at how cool that card looks. Now, this has a lot of different things going on. The first one is I have to play this on a hero within range. So I could play it on myself or Colin. I'm actually choosing to play it on myself. So Gwendol's going to go ahead and have her Loyal Guardian, of course, protecting her. Why not? He has a usability here that says before suffering damage, you may place Loxley in a space adjacent to you. Then Loxley suffers that damage instead. Now, of course, the range is 4. So if I do want to use it, I have to be within 4 of Loxley. Now, even though there's a usability, there's also an exhaustibility, which I can use light to gain 1 focus. Sadly, we don't have any of those in our dice pool. But of course, if we do use the card, we would discard it. Gwendol's going to go ahead and interact and task against this thing. And of course, I have to use my intellect, which she's the brains of the outfit. She's got 1. She's going to go ahead and roll this up, and let's hope we get a success. Oh, we got 1. So that means we're going to go ahead and place our other token on there. We only have to do 2 more. And Gwendol, of course, has a great exhaust ability. So we're going to go ahead and do that to heal ourselves 1 damage. Now, when we do that, we do have to spend our wind die from our dice pool, and we're going to go ahead and roll it again and see what we get. Hopefully not fire. Oh, we got light. That one's really good. The last thing I'm going to do is going to go ahead and draw a card, and I have Faithful Companion.
After completing the hero's activations, we move to the threat turn. In any order the players choose, each hero resolves the activate text on each card in their threat area from left to right. I think I'll go ahead first. We have the advantage card here, but you can see there's no activate text. Can't do anything. We do have the crawl decoy. It has activate. Each minion threat in this room gains 1 threat token. There aren't any, so we can just pass that by. Barrett also only has the advantage card in his threat area. There is no activate, so we've completed the threat part of our turn. Next, we'll move to the villain turn. Resolve the activate text on each card in the villain play area from left to right. Then draw and resolve 1 villain card. If the villain has been defeated, each hero must draw 1 threat card. You always activate cards from left to right, so we start here. If the black wolf figure is on its card, it heals 2 damage. It's already healed. We'll move to here, and this states that if the black wolf figure is on its card, it heals 2 damage. Otherwise, engage. Can't engage right now because it's on the card. However, next, we are going to draw the top card of the villain deck, and we're going to activate it if it's an event, and it is. It says if the black wolf figure is on the board, it's not, so we can skip that. Otherwise, the black wolf heals 2 damage. Then if it has no damage, which it doesn't, spawn the black wolf figure in the revealed room with the most characters. I think we know where that is. Minions in general will spawn at their spawn points here. You can see on the board there's this little crack. They're going to come out of the wall and come right here. Now, his health is 5 times the amount of players, so he has 10 health and 1 armor. Hopefully we can do some damage to him. Finally, we'll go to the quest turn. Resolve the activate text on each card in the quest play area from left to right. Then we'll flip this card. When we flip this card, that means we'll ready all of our exhausted cards and start the next round. Our first activate here is each hero with an advantage card in their threat area must either discard 1 progress from it, which neither of us can, or discard 1 card. So we're each going to have to discard a card. Barrett and I are both going to discard these cards. Mine was simple because I'm in werewolf form. Unfortunately for Barrett, he had to make a tough choice. Next, we need to activate our Burning Altar. Each hero may suffer 1 damage to change 1 altar die to a result of their choice. Do you want to do that? I don't either. Each hero in the altar's room, the room's not out. And we have no fire, thankfully, because we tried as much as we could to keep the fire outside of the altar dice. Woo! Then we have 2 activates here that we have. So this one says, a hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. I think we are both adjacent to the fungi. We also could, if we wanted, to do the activate here as well. A hero adjacent to this feature may discard this card, not the feature card, this card, to either place 2 progress on the favored weapon advantage, which unfortunately neither of us have, or just discard the top card of the villain deck. That would mean the villain would spawn earlier, but since we haven't seen any minions yet, we actually kind of want to see some minions to be able to get rid of these advantages, so I think we're going to wait to do that. So unfortunately, Barrett has misled us all. His druid is definitely not adjacent to the fungi. It's only me. His wonderful ally is. So that means we can do 1 point of damage. We can have this werewolf suffer 1 point of damage. And remember, any suffering of damage goes through defense, no problem. So he now has 9 health. And with that, that'll end this turn. You can see that there's a lot of moving parts, but once you get used to it, it goes pretty quick. Let's jump to the next hero turn.
Gwendol's going to be our first person. That's right. We're going to go ahead and give this a shot. We want to really get rid of this trap. So I'm going to go ahead and start by trying to get rid of it. So that's going to be our first action. So I'm going to go ahead and flip our token. We didn't really show these the first time, but whenever you take an action, they do give you these tokens so you can remember what you're doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll my intellect, which is 1. Super smart. We got a burst. That's awesome. So we can go ahead and just roll another die and see if we can take this out in one shot. We did get a success, and we also are going to be able to pick up one of our focus tokens that we can go ahead and use at another time. Going into the second action, the first thing we do is exhaust Loxley and be able to move him up to 5 spaces, which then will get us in range of our primal coordination card, which is going to be able to allow us to move 2 spaces and attack. And then Loxley gets to attack as well using his fortitude, which is 3. It's absolutely amazing. So Loxley's going to move 1, 2, 3, so he's adjacent to the giant werewolf, not intimidated at all. Then that means she is going to go ahead and use that primal coordination card and move 2 spaces and attack. So even though my plan looked absolutely awesome, we actually looked into this card and I think we were doing it wrong. I'm not allowed to attack with my quarterstaff because it's actually a special attack from here with only a range of 1. So actually Gwendel's not going to be able to attack, but we're going to forego that and allow Loxley still to attack using his fortitude. So he's still going to be able to roll those 3 dice. So we're going to roll these up. Now, of course, that werewolf has 1 armor. We got to get some good rolls. We got 3 successes. So that means we've done 3 damage, but with that armor, it's only going to be 2. So we're going to go ahead and use that third action to activate our source of strength card. Now we're within 3 range of that werewolf, so we're going to be able to interact because he's a minion. Right here it says, if you are within range of a minion that has not been questioned, you may draw 1 card from the interrogation deck, then place 1 quest token on the minion. So let's go ahead and draw that card. We have Endure Resistance. We're going to go ahead and test our fortitude. For each success, I'm going to place 1 progress on the advantage card in my threat area. Before we do any rolls, I'm going to go ahead and play a reaction card. It's our Faithful Companion. I need all the help I can get because I only have 1 fortitude, not 2 fortitude. We're going to go ahead and play this card before the hero adjacent to Loxley rolls dice for the test. That hero gains +1 die to their test. Of course, if we had any fire, I could then give ourselves each hero adjacent to Loxley gains 1 armor token, but alas, no fire in the pool. So we're going to go ahead, roll our 2 dice, and interrogate that werewolf. We got 1 success, and then we also got a focus symbol. So I could either gain a focus token, or I could use 1 to gain a success. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and use this focus token to gain 2 successes that are going to be placed on the source of strength card. Right there. And of course, we did play this card, so that means I'm going to have to discard this. So after resolving my action phase, I'm going to go ahead and draw a card. And we have received Nature's Fury. Now this is a range of 4. I can attack using my willpower, which behold is my best stat. I wish we'd be using that more often. Then, if Loxley is within your range, change 1 alter die to a result of your choice. And of course, if there's earth in the pool, I can deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. Oh, what a great card.
Now that Barent's done with all of his fun, it's time for us werewolves to have a bit of fun. My first action, I'm simply going to take 1 step here to go ahead and be within range 1 of this werewolf. The next thing I'm going to do, which is not even an action, I'm going to simply exhaust my wolf claws. I'm going to use the earth that we have in the altar pool to go ahead and deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. That will give that black wolf 5 damage. But then I have to reroll this die. And by the way, I can still use the action effect on this card even though it's exhausted with the exhaust effect. I do also want to mention that we should have placed this quest token onto the black wolf because that means we've already interrogated him. We can't interrogate him again. We'll re-roll that die and we get a water. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do an action on our wolf claws. We're going to attack. Now, if there was a weapon card under this, it gains +1 die. What that means is there's equipment cards that if you played the campaign mode, you could gain equipment cards. But you can see here it says equipment. You cannot equip an offhand card. So it makes it hard for Layson to be able to play equipment cards. Instead, you'll slide them underneath here and the wolf becomes more powerful because of it. Our attack is using our strength stat, so we're going to roll 3 dice for this attack. Let's see what we get. We have 1 success and 2 focus. So with that, because he has 1 defense, what I think I'm going to do is, oh wait, actually, yeah, I'll do this right now. I'm going to go ahead and spend a focus here to make that 2 successes. However, I can exhaust my Crescent of the Loon here, use this night die or shadow die. After rolling dice for your attack, add 1 burst to the for the results. So I'm going to place this burst there, which first of all is considered a success, but second of all allows me to roll another die in for this attack. Sweet. I'll roll that additional die as well as the altar die because I have to re-roll that one. And we get another focus symbol. My goodness, I am not doing great for hits. So I am definitely going to do a total of 1, 2, 3 hits. So that means I'm dealing him 2 points of damage. He has 7 damage out of the 10. I am also then going to gain 2 focus back. So I'll grab this one and I'll grab one more here as well. I'm then going to play this reaction card that's in my hand. This is not an action. It states, play this card immediately after resolving the action on Wolf Claws. You may suffer 1 damage to attack again with strength. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So I'll take my 3rd point of damage, and I'm going to attack again, rolling 3 dice. I'll go ahead and roll my 3 dice here. I've got 1 burst there, so let me roll that in over there. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3 successes. That means I'm dealing 2 points of damage. I'm going to go ahead and use this focus so we can kill him. That will be just enough to take him out. Whenever you defeat a minion, we get to place or gain a supply. We can use this supply in a couple different ways. Whenever we're doing a test, we can discard 1 supply to add 1 die, or we can take an action to discard a supply and then heal 2 damage. Supply is party owned, so it's not controlled by any one player. Anyone can use supply. That's different than focus. Focus is my focus or Barrett's focus. So the Black Wolf is a little bit unique. You're actually going to keep all the damage on his card, place his mini back on here. When he heals all that damage, now we don't know how this exactly works, but we're going to say that we can discard this quest token that we put on him so we can re-interrogate him over and over again, just because we want to. I'm not sure if that's right, but we have a total of 10 damage on here. He's going to be healing at a minimum of 4 each turn, and then if he gets fully healed, when you see those cards come out, he potentially is going to come out and spawn again. My final action for this turn is I'm going to play the Lunarian Resilience. This has a use effect that I can heal 3 damage and gain 1 focus. But remember, if I use it, I discard it. It's out. I also have an Exhaust here where I can exhaust the Shadow to just heal 1 damage. I was hoping I had a Shadow, but unfortunately we have 3 water, a light, and a wind. Finally, before we end the round, I think I'm going to use this light, and I'm going to calm the beast. I love this. So I'm going to gain a focus token. That'll be my second one. Something we haven't talked about. The maximum amount of focus that you can ever have is 5. Any excess is lost. So I'm going to gain a focus and then flip this card, which also means I'm going to flip my Wolf Claws and my Crescent of the Loon. I'm going to keep my 3 damage. I am going to stay exhausted, so I can't do that and then flip back to the beast in the same turn. I'm also going to flip both of these, like so. That altar die reroll will give us some wind. Finally, I'm going to have even some more fun. I'm going to play Loon's Elusive Grace. We have to be within range 3, but we're actually going to do this for ourselves. We're going to test our willpower. Our willpower is 2 on this side. For each success, choose a hero within range to either heal 1 damage or gain 1 focus. I'm going to go ahead and do this to heal damage. And then we do have wind. We just rolled wind. So we have wind here. We can choose a hero within range to heal 1 damage or draw 1 card. I feel like I need to draw cards because I'm going to have to discard a card because of the unnatural protection with no progress on it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a card for that. Let's just do it since we're sitting here. So I'll draw, Tearing Fangs. We know what that is. And now let's go ahead and resolve our test. We're rolling 2 dice for this test, and I'm re-rolling our altar die. And we get 1 success and 1 focus. I think I'll spend 1 focus for this so I can heal for 2. That means I only have 1 point of damage. I'll take that. Then I'm going to go ahead and end my turn by drawing a card, and we have the Hunter's Reach. After the hero turns, we move to the threat turn. There's no threats that are going to activate, so we'll move to the villain turn. We have here, if the Black Wolf figure is on its card, it's going to heal by 2. So it's going to heal 2 damage. And then here, if the Black Wolf figure is on its card, it heals by 2 damage. So now he only has 6 damage. Then let's draw our next villain card, and we have Primeval Fury. If the Black Wolf is on the board, it's not. Otherwise, the Black Wolf heals 2 more damage. So it's going to go from 6 damage down to 4. And it does not have no more damage, so that's all that's going to happen. Finally, we'll go to the quest phase. We'll activate here. Either we have to discard a progress on our advantage card, or we have to discard a card. Barrett and I are each going to discard 1 card. I'm discarding that Hunter's Reach, and he's discarding Nature's Fury. Oh, it's terrible. I hate that. Then we have the Burning Fire. Each hero may suffer 1 damage to change 1 altar die. I don't think either one of us want to do that, and there's still no fire in the altar pool. Then we have here, a hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy. There's no enemies in the room, and we don't want to accelerate the villain deck quite yet. So we're going to end the turn. Let's go ahead and move to the next hero phase.
Gwendole's going to go first, and her trusty animal Loxley is going to exhaust to move 5 squares. So there's a lot of different ways out of this room. We could go this way, but our monsters are going to spawn way over here, which would be pretty tough to get to. I think we're going to go north. So Loxley's going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Unlock this door as a free action, and now we're going to go ahead and reveal the room. First, we're going to reveal the feature for the room, and let's see what it is. We have found a weapon rack. It says activate. A hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. Then, of course, we can interact using a search with our might. And it says for each supply gained during this test, deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. The next card we have to reveal is our quest card. Oh, check it out, Colin. We're on the right track. It says, as you carefully open the door, you hear a sudden rustle beyond and the slam of a door. Looking inside, you can see signs of a hasty exit. You must be close. There's no time to lose. If your foe truly had you at the advantage, why would he run? The urgency gives you a sense of hope that you are not falling into a trap, but catching your foe where you want them, scared. When revealed, if a hero has an advantage card in their threat area, look at the bottom 2 cards of the feature deck. Then either return them to the bottom in any order you choose, or place 1 card on top and 1 card on bottom of the featured deck. Otherwise, you may discard the top card of the villain deck. The cards that were at the bottom were the cage and the altar. So I think we're going to put the cage on the bottom, but let's go ahead and put that altar on top. We're going to go ahead and draw our threat card. So I get the first one, and it says, oh, it's a Crowl Assassin. Now, the Crowl Assassin has actually 0 defense, but it's going to come in with 3 threat tokens, and those are bad news. But of course, they're going to add 1 defense value. But once during our turn, a hero may discard any number of focus. For each focus discarded, the hero may discard 1 of those threat tokens from an enemy in the room. So we want to try to get those off so we can really take that guy down. Now, this Crowl Assassin does have 5 health, and the way you discern the different minions is by their color here. He's the red one, so we're going to find the one with the red ring and place it down on the board.
I also have to draw a threat card, so I will get, another one. We've got a Blacksley Sharpshooter. This one also has 5 health. It'll also have the 3 threat tokens, and it will be the yellow minion. We're each going to place these cards in our own respective threat areas, and then during our threat phase of our turns, we will be activating them. Hopefully, we can kill them before that happens, but with 3 defense, it's going to be tough. We'll place the weapons rack right here. We then need to spawn the red Crowl first in this spot here, and then the Blacksley Sharpshooter adjacent to it. I'd say he'd go right here. He wants to be ranged. This one attacks melee, so he wants to be able to jump in and attack us.
Loxley does have 1 more movement, and he's going to go ahead and move through the door. And you can only move into the space that's actually orthogonally adjacent to it. You can't actually move diagonal through a door. So he's going to end up right there. Gwendol still has 3 actions. She's going to go ahead and move 1, 2, 3 as her first action. Her second action, she's going to go 1, 2, 3. Remember, we can move through our allies. We just can't end on the exact square of them. And now for her third action, she's going to go ahead and play a card. I'm going to go ahead now and play Mystical Link. Now, this is a feat. It's not an action, so it's kind of cool. I'm going to test my willpower. Now, I do need 3 successes to make this happen, and if I pass it, I get to place Loxley adjacent to an enemy within range. Then Loxley can attack, but it's going to be using his might, and that enemy is going to have to hopefully suffer some damage. Now, Gwendol's best stat is her willpower, so she gets 3 dice. Let's roll these up and get some great numbers. We rolled a burst, so that means we're going to go ahead and roll another die. Oh, that's awesome. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, and I get a fate token. So we're going to go ahead and take our focus token. I called it a fate token, focus token, and we did pass. We only needed 3, and we did get our 4 successes, so that means I can move Loxley and attack. So we're going to go ahead and put our meat shield, Loxley, right up here, and he's going to go ahead and attack the sharpshooter. Now, Loxley's might is only 2, so we're going to roll 2 dice and hopefully get some bursts. Now, good news, bad news, we got 2 successes, which is not enough to get through his armor. I could spend my other focus to get 3, but still, not enough. But good news, I get 2 focus tokens. So we actually have 3 focus tokens. And with those 3 focus tokens, once per turn, we can use these to remove some of those shadow tokens. And I'm going to use all 3 to get rid of the tokens that are on our Black Ski Sharpshooter. And that means he's going to be fair game to Colin. Using Mystical Link, I'm going to go ahead and discard it. And I have 1 more action left because remember, Mystical Link was a feat. So I'm going to go ahead and get adjacent to this because it can deal some damage. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 over to here just so I can get near it. And we're going to go ahead and draw a card at the end of our turn. And it's another one of those at my command.
For my turn, I really want to kill that sharpshooter, but we need to interrogate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my first 2 actions moving a total of 6 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to stand over here. Remember, this does not block line of sight. This means I'm within range 3. I'm going to do the interact that's on my advantage card. I have to place this quest token onto him to say that I've interrogated him, but if you're within a range of a minion that has not been questioned, you may draw 1 card from the interrogation deck, then place a quest token on that minion. So I'm going to grab this interrogation card, and we have testing our intellect. You know what my intellect is? You can just barely see it. It's 2. So I get to test 2. Place 1 progress on an advantage from your threat area. Now, I'm going to do something. I'm going to ask Barrett if it's okay. He's totally nodding at me. That's yes. I'm going to discard a supply token here to add 1 additional die to this test. So I get to roll 3 dice. I'll give my 3 dice a roll. Let's see what we get. Oh, we get 1 burst and 2 focuses. So let's roll for that burst. Okay, we have 2 successes. I have 1 focus, but I think I'm going to keep that focus. I'm going to go ahead and gain 2 more focuses. 2 more focus tokens, having a total of 3 now, and I had 2 progress onto my advantage card. I'll place the 2 progress here, and then what I'm going to do with my 3 focus is the same thing that Barrett did with his. I'm going to discard all 3 of my focus. Hurts a little bit, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to be able to then get rid of all 3 threat tokens on this Crowl Assassin. So now both of them should be somewhat easier to kill. Now I have this Lunarian resistance, but know that right now I am not the wolf, so I can't use this. But I still have my Crescent of the Loon here. I can exhaust this to roll up to 2 altar dice. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Shadow one because we know both of the enemies want to use that. And then I'm also going to reroll one of these water ones because we have 3 water and a wind. So I'm going to do that. The other thing that I'm going to do since I'm right here is I'm going to exhaust my bow and use the wind to deal 1 damage to an enemy that's within range. So I'm going to go ahead and deal 1 damage to the Blacksley Sharpshooter. That means we only need 4 more points of damage to defeat him. We'll then give all 3 of our dice a roll. Oh, we still have a knight and we have fire. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. We do, though, have a light one.
Colin did a fantastic job of rolling some of these dice. It gives me the ability to exhaust our Loyal Guardian card down here to gain 1 focus token. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and now we're going to re-roll this die, and we're going to hopefully get something else we can use. We got a Earth symbol, which isn't bad at all because I can exhaust this now to gain 1 armor token. Oh, look at all the combos that are happening. This is amazing. Now we're going to roll this die, maybe get something else to use. Oh no, we got water. We got 3 of those. We know we can't use those.
I'll now end my turn by drawing a card, and I have more Tearing Fangs. Bring it. So now we're going to move to the threat turn. I'm going to activate my threat first. I have this Blacksley Sharpshooter. So we have it here, activate. It's going to try and engage. Now, this enemy has a range of 5. So what it's going to do is it's going to determine who it wants to attack, and then it's going to move as far as it possibly can up to that range, but still have as many characters as possible within that range, and attack. Unfortunately, it's going to be Loxley, because Loxley is the closest. It's going to attack, and how Loxley is going to defend is with his agility. He's going to attack for 5 damage, and then what Barrett will do for his defense will roll the agility stat on Loxley to reduce the amount of damage that Loxley is taking. If after doing the engage and he tried to do the inflict, no one was within that range of 5, he would do this second part. That's not going to happen. But you can see here, this means the total amount of movement that he has 4 movement. And unfortunately, do you see this here? This means that we have a shadow in the altar pool. So that means gain 1 threat token and deal 1 damage to a character within range. Whenever there are multiple characters in range, us as the players, this is how the rules are written. You can always make it harder by doing it randomly or a different way, but us as the players get to decide who's going to take that point of damage. Gwendol has kindly said that she'll take that 1 point of damage, so she now has 1 point of damage. She has 9 health remaining. So with that engage ability, he's going to move himself 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way over here as far away as he can, but then he has a range of 5 for hitting Loxley.
Loxley's going to go ahead and roll his 2 plus the altar dice just to get it all done at 1 shot, and we got 2 successes that are bursts, and we're going to roll up some more dice. Come on, keep those bursts coming. That's fantastic. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, and I could use the focus token I have to make it 5 to take almost no damage. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this focus token, giving me 5 successes, meaning I didn't take any damage. Oh, Loxley, that was awesome. Of course, we do have to put that threat token on the sharpshooter.
Next, we're going to activate the Crawl Assassin. So it's going to engage and then inflict damage using our might as defense, a 5. Don't have to worry about the unable. And fortunately, we no longer have Shadow in the altar pool, so we don't have to do this ability. The range of this assassin is only 1, and Loxley is already at range 1, so let's go ahead and resolve that attack.
Now Loxley does have a 2 might here, and look what else he's got. He's got 1 defense. I totally missed that. So instead of spending that focus token, we're going to keep it from that last hit, and I'm actually going to gain the focus token that was on the die that we used it. Now what we're going to do is now roll his 2 might, and we're going to remember that he has 1 defense. Let's see how this goes. We got 1, and we also got that focus. So now would be a good time to probably spend that focus token. So that means we are going to get 2 successes, and the 1 armor is 3 blocks. So we are only going to take 2 damage.
We'll move to the villain turn. Activate. If the Black Wolf figures on its card, it's going to heal 2 damage. And then, of course, the Black Wolf itself says, if the Black Wolf is here, heal it 2 damage. Otherwise, it would engage. Yeah, no, it's just fully healed. You know what's going to happen. We'll flip that top card of Broderick's here, and it has Gaze of Loon. If the black figure, the Black Wolf, is on the board, it's not. Otherwise, the Black Wolf heals. It's already healed. Then it has no damage. Spawn the Black Wolf in the room with the most characters. And I think we all know what room has the most characters. This one. Oh boy, Loxley. Has your luck run out? We'll see. Finally, we'll do the quest turn. First things first, Barrett is going to be awesome and discard a card, so he doesn't have to discard progress. I'm not as cool. I'm going to discard a progress because I want all my cards, and I am greedy. Then we have our activate. Each hero may suffer 1 damage to change 1 altar die to a result of their choice. I don't think we're going to do that. Each hero in the altar's room can't do that. Unfortunately, there is a fire. Dun dun dun. Each figure must either discard 1 armor token or suffer 1 damage. Now that's each character. So the Crawl Assassin and the Sharpshooter each going to take a point of damage. Loxley and myself, Layson, don't have any armor, so each of us, or I should say shield tokens, each of us have to take 1 point of damage. That'll be 3 out of the 6 for Loxley and 2 out of the 12 for myself. But fortunately, Gwendol does have 1 armor token. She's just going to discard that. We could do fun stuff with the fungal patch, but no one's adjacent to that, so then we'll just move to the weapons rack. It says, a hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. Fortunately for us, we strategically placed ourselves adjacent to the weapons rack, so we're each going to deal 1 damage to that blasted sharpshooter. We probably took an axe and chucked it at him. So he does have that 1 defense, but remember that defense doesn't help for anything except for actual attacks against them. So he's going to take 2 more damage. He's 1 health from being toast. And with that, that'll end the round. We've got a few enemies to deal with, but I think we can handle them. Let's do it.